Greetings. It is already the 22nd of January of the year 2018 here in India, from where I'm addressing you, my most respected and beloved friends. Just a month ago, we in the Northern Hemisphere recalled the day, the very beginning of the new growing days season. The 21st of December is deemed to be the shortest day, and from the 22nd we begin to count the growing of the day in the Northern Hemisphere. The day indicates hope and joy for all of us, at least for most of us, since we do not belong to that group called Draculas or vampires, I hope at least. A month has already passed, and I already pledged to many of you on Christmas Day, as well as on the eve of the new solar year, to come forward in order to help those who are being oppressed, exploited, and enslaved to gain their liberty. I'm afraid very little has been done. I do not blame any of you. It is unfortunately our world which makes the situation very difficult for most of us to combat such heinous crimes like human trafficking and illegal slavery. Only a few days ago, I was both shocked and shattered by an extremely grave and grievous news of parents imprisoning, and I use the expression imprisoning in speech marks or in inverted commas, their own children, handcuffing them, detaining them in a very humid and unpleasant room. I should say, by God's grace, one of their children could escape and report this matter to the police. The incidents took place in a very developed and industrialized country, perhaps known to be the most influential country in the world. A country whose written constitution is much older than 200 years, let alone its Declaration of Independence. A country which boasts itself of democracy and fair judiciary. A country which says that human rights prevail over everything else. I deeply regret this situation, that in a country like this could have happened. This may be shattering for many of us because such grave wrongs were committed by the parents of the children concerned. But what about the rest of the world? Are those who are oppressed youngest of the young children? Are they not our children? Can we excuse ourselves by saying that they are not our blood issues and therefore we have nothing to do with them? If we said that, I fear to admit and add that we would be too selfish human beings. Being human beings, we must pursue humanity. Humanity is not merely something that is done by a very noble person. I mean, a person of noble birth. No, on the contrary. Every human being has the legal duty to look after his own issues, but at the same time, the moral duty to look after those who are being oppressed. If we fail to do so, we lack humanity, and we exonerating our duties, we also leave the circle of humanity and become creatures lacking humanity. I most respectfully beg again all of you who are oppressing, I beg your pardon, I mean who are opposing oppression, who are condemning oppression, and all those who believe that I am their friend, to come forward and speak out against such grave injustice. Children and women, I mean, yes, all the women of the world are being somehow victimized. I fear to add all. Even in the most developed countries in the world, women often do not enjoy the same legitimate rights comparing to their partners, to us men. This is wrong. I crave again your leave to turn to that very beginning of the Holy Scriptures, known as the Torah or the Holy Bible. We see in the beginning, in the very book called Genesis, that God created man, and then, having put him to sleep, he took a bone, a rib bone, from his side. This clearly means that women are equal to us. They ought to be protected by us. They ought to have equal rights as we do. No doubt, it is not merely women who are victimized. Children throughout the world are victimized too. Less than 10% of the children of the world really enjoy their legitimate rights. I venture to add, too many of them are starving. Too many of them are lacking education. Too many of them are being practically enslaved, let alone the fact that they are being sold. From one country to another, they are being trafficked. They are being enslaved illegally. I call upon all of you, most respectfully, to come forward and act. Criticizing others do not help the situation to improve. Doing something helps. We all need to play our part. I'm saying part in singular, because we all should have one aim, and that is to see that we live in a world of justice and equity for all. We are human beings. According to the Torah, again, if I may quote, God created man in his own image. And then in the second chapter of the book of Genesis, the Holy Bible, the Torah, says, he created them, and that meaning both of them. It is too grave a situation, too grave an incidence, too grave and too regrettable a situation, that we, being human beings, are often too slow, too reluctant to come forward and help those who are truly in need. I venture to add that most of us who can afford a computer, whether this is a desktop, a laptop, or even a tablet or a mobile phone, are better off comparing to the rest of the world. But being better off also requires us to do our part, to come forward to help those who are worse off, which of course include at least 3/4 of the world population, if not more. We must act. Please bear in mind that nothing can happen unless we do something. I mean, positive. I'm not talking about the world being revolved by its own speed, the sun rising every day and setting. I'm talking of us human beings. Being humans, we must play our roles. And our roles are to help those who are in worse situation than ourselves. If we don't, we fail. If we fail, we cannot take pride, at least on reasonable grounds, to call ourselves human beings. Therefore, I urge you once again, most respectfully, I beg you once again, most humbly, to come forward and help those in need. To come forward and speak out against grave injustice, which is being continued in our world even today, even on this 22nd of January of this new millennium, first quarter of this new millennium. Ladies and gentlemen, my most respected and beloved friends, please come forward and combat the heinous crimes, including human trafficking and illegal slavery. I implore you once again to heed to this pledge and request of mine. I thank you once again for listening to this message and coming forward. God bless. All the best to all of you.